Hi there, my name is Mr. Pete. I am a fourth grade teacher and it's new book day. I love every book I read. So to the students who always laugh at me because I say that about every book, it's because I love every book. Most favorite children's book ever written by...
Absolute favorite books. The one and...
There are 3 to this book. It's one of my favorite books.
One of the best children's books ever written. And it's one of my faults, or maybe one of my good reasons, maybe why I'm a language arts teacher. But today we are going to be reading a book by one of the absolute best authors of children's books, of books in general, and that is The Tale of Despereaux by Kate DiCamillo. It's time to say hello to some of my most favorite characters in any book that I will ever read. But before we start, I do want to talk about Kate DiCamillo, who has written some of the most amazing books. The one that introduced me to her writing was Because of Winn-Dixie. I highly recommend that. She's written The Magician's Elephant, and I only have the dust jacket. And the current book that, well, is making its rounds because of the movie that Disney put out, Flora and Ulysses, and I don't have the jacket for that. There you go. And she has written Raymie Nightingale, and she has written The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. I know a lot of people who this is their favorite Kate DiCamillo book. And then another one of my absolute favorites, The Tiger Rising. She has written tons more, so please, please, please read Kate DiCamillo books. They're good for kids to read, but they're also good for adults to read. The eternal themes that are in her books are just so good. And in The Tale of Despereaux, I've had this book for years and years and years. I love reading it every single year. As I said, there are so many amazing characters, and this story is told in a very interesting way. But I'm going to wait until we weave through the maze of this book to figure out what that way is, especially for those of you that are in my class right now. So, as we get started with Kate DiCamillo's The Tale of Despereaux, and you can see on the cover here, Despereaux with his sword. I wonder what that's all about. But before we get to chapter 1, I always like to start with a few other things. This book does have a longer name. The Tale of Despereaux being the story of a mouse, a princess, some soup, and a spool of thread. By Kate DiCamillo. Illustrated by Timothy Basil Earing. And this is for Luke, who asked for the story of an unlikely hero, the underdog story. Go ahead and take a look at your table of contents. You can see there are 4 books. They don't really dive into the chapters. We will do that as we go through, as we start our journey into the world of Despereaux, Roscioro, and Miggery-Sow. The world is dark and light is precious. Come closer, dear reader. You must trust me. I am telling you a story. Book the first, A Mouse is Born. Chapter 1, the last one. For my kids, make sure you pop setting up at the top. Pay attention to the narration in this book. Who is the narrator? Is it someone in the story, or is it an all-knowing narrator, or is it a limited narrator? First person or third person? This story begins within the walls of a castle with the birth of a mouse. A small mouse, the last mouse born to his parents, and the only one of his litter to be born alive. "Where are my babies?" said the exhausted mother. when the ordeal was through. "Show to me my babies." The father mouse held the one small mouse up high. "There is only this one," he said. "The others are dead." "Mon Dieu! Just the one mouse baby?" "Just the one. Will you name him?" "Oh, all of that work for nothing," said the mother. She sighed. "It is so sad. It is such the disappointment." She was a French mouse who had arrived at the castle long ago in the luggage of a visiting French diplomat. Disappointment was one of her favorite words. She used it often. So obviously you want to highlight the mother and the father, two characters that will come into play throughout this story. Pay attention to their character traits. Let's analyze these characters. "Will you name him?" repeated the father. "Will I name him? Will I name him? Of course I will name him, but he will only die like the others. Oh, so sad. Oh, such the tragedy." The mouse mother held a handkerchief to her nose and then waved it in front of her face. She sniffed. "I will name him. Yes, I will name this mouse Despereaux. For all the sadness, for the many despairs in this place. Now, where is my mirror?" Despereaux. Highlight Despereaux. Obviously, probably a main character since the book is called The Tale of Despereaux. Her husband handed her a small shard of mirror. Highlight the word shard. It is a small piece of a mirror. The mouse mother, whose name was Antoinette, highlight Antoinette, now we can connect that name to the mother, looked at her reflection and gasped aloud. "Tullies," she said to one of her sons, "get for me my makeup bag. My eyes are a fright." While Antoinette touched her eye makeup, the mouse father put Despereaux down on a bed made of blanket scraps. The April sun, weak but determined, personification, shone through a castle window and from there squeezed itself through a small hole in the wall and placed one gold finger on the little mouse. Wow! Imagery using personification, making the sunlight look like a person who's squeezing through and is determined and takes that one little sunbeam and touches Despereaux. The other older mice children gathered around to stare at Despereaux. "Oh, his ears are too big," said his sister Merlot. "Those are the biggest ears I've ever seen." "Look," said a brother named Furlough. Again, highlight Merlot, highlight Furlough. "His eyes are open. Pa, his eyes are open. They shouldn't be open." It is true. Despereaux's eyes should not have been open, but they were. He was staring at the sun reflecting off his mother's mirror. The light, highlight, light, was shining into the ceiling in an oval of brilliance, and he was smiling up at the sight. He loves that light. Light and dark. We'll come back to that in a second. "There is something wrong with him," said the father. "Leave him alone." The Despereaux's brothers and sisters stepped back away from the new mouse. "This is the last," proclaimed Antoinette from her bed. "I will have no more mice babies. They are such the disappointment. They are hard on my beauty. They ruin for me my looks. This is the last one. No more." "The last one," said the father, "and he'll be dead soon. He can't live, not with his eyes open like that." But reader, he did live. This is his story. So highlight that. That is foreshadowing. He does live, and boy, does he have his eyes open. That is a metaphor, having your eyes open. That means you're paying attention to things. That means you're not afraid of what's in front of you. And in this case, Despereaux loves that light. And I do want to go back. If you go back to the beginning of the book, that little section at the beginning, the world is dark and light is precious. you definitely want to highlight the dark and light, because we are going to be coming back to dark and light over and over again. All right, we will stop there with chapter 1, and we will pick up with chapter 2. Such a disappointment. Think about the mother and her character traits. Think about what she's concerned with. Not necessarily her dead babies, but her beauty. Think about what she's worried about and why she doesn't want to have more babies. And she starts talking about how her babies are a disappointment right in front of her kids, Merlot and Furlough. And we have been introduced to this very interesting family. Let's see what happens next. How is Despereaux going to be a disappointment? All right, thank you so much for reading. Please, please, please keep joining this amazing, amazing family that we are growing here at my YouTube channel. I recently went over 500 followers, which is a lot for me. I'm so happy, and I thank you for all of you that are joining us for these wonderful book conversations. Please click the like. Please subscribe to the channel. Tell your friends if you're reading this for class. Please tell your teacher so that she can use this as well, or he can use this as well. And enjoy the channel and let me know books that you want me to read. Someone recently recommended Hatchet, and I will be reading that parallel to this book. So more books, lots and lots of books up there, all full of analyzing. And I thank you so much for joining me. To my class, enjoy this book. It is so much fun. All right, I will see you on the next page. Peace.